like to welcome each and every individual to the Voices of Integrity podcast for the Top Gun Sales Bootcamp training. And let's dive right in. Nora, what you got today?
So my numbers for yesterday were 14%. Um,
Nice.
so I did have, okay, so I had a really good conversation with a guy, and so I'm gonna keep in touch with him. He's interested in the virtual coffee connection, and then possibly doing, a 30-minute with you. So, but I
Okay.
didn't get anything like scheduled on it. And then last night, later last night, I got a call back, and the guy said like he read the booklet and it sounded like he read it like all the way through. And then
Wow.
he's like, I do have questions for you. So yeah, like he's like
Wow.
wanting me to call him back. So like there's like those are the like that's what I'm kind of looking for when
Right?
I think that's why I use the script that I do.
Okay.
Because I was having a conversation with Elaine yesterday about, and then she said something about changing up my script. And I'm having like a hard time doing that because I'm getting callbacks and it's like it kind of like weeds them out quite a bit to either you're interested or you're not.
Right.
So is that me like being lazy or wise? To like so I don't have to wait like so I'm not wasting a bunch of time with people that don't like want it and I'm kind of like I think
Yeah. So, so Kenny and Luke, like Nora asked a really cool question, like a really cool question.
Right?
So, what do you guys think?
Maybe if you take that time and invest it, or what you do with that time.
Well, no, what she's saying is she's got something that works. She's got something that works. Um, and so if she changes it, it might stop working or not work as effectively.
Well, there's that, and then there's also the fact that it could, we often stop at things that work good, and we could be looking at something that's we have potential to find something that works great.
Well,
So
I think could be
making
one
a
thing.
making a change could, you know, break it, but it could make it better too. And the only, we could always revert back to this way, use this script if we know that this works, if we don't find anything that's better.
Do you know what he's saying, Nora, or not?
yeah.
So, walls of opportunities, we have walls going in, we have walls of opportunity. And so we try going, so go under the wall, go over, under, left, right, blow it up, tear it down. Somehow, some way, we're going to make a breakthrough. Bigger wall, thicker the wall, the more important it is to make a breakthrough. And so often we go over, that doesn't work. We go under, that doesn't work. We go to the left and it works. What do? We stop rather than, well, maybe going to the left, maybe going to the left did work, but going to the right would have worked a lot better. Blowing up would have worked a lot better. So we don't, we get settled. We settle with, where we're at. And so, questions, Nora?
No, I don't think so.
Does that answer your question or not?
Yeah.
And what's the answer?
Just like if I change it, like obviously don't just like throw this script away because it works. But if I change it, it might work better or
Nice.
it might not. And then, but I
Right.
still have the script that I have now that I could always go back to.
Nice. Nice. And so the answer is it's complicated. What seems lazy can actually be hard work. What seems, hard work. Once a goofball said to me that, you know, lazy was smart. I'm like, how is lazy smart? He says there's a general that went ahead and said that he liked, lazy people doing war with him. I'm like, what? I was out in Annapolis. We were at a restaurant right outside right outside the um, waiting, and I was talking to this gentleman, and I said, "You remember when you said that about the general?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Is there like an article out there or something?" He's like, "Yeah, I can probably find it." So he did. And while we're waiting to go into the restaurant, he gives me this article, and I start reading it. It's fascinating. So essentially, what the general said is the general said he liked lazy people, so he could put them on the front lines. Like, huh? So they die. Like lazy people are stupid. But so what, if you're trying to find a more efficient way, if you're trying to find a more efficient way to do something, maybe that's what Luke was trying to reference is when you find a more efficient way to do something, what do you like? What do you do with that time? Do you just rest and relax? Do you just entertain? Do you just go out and do a dopamine hit? Or are you constantly like when I was a night custodian working my way through high school and college, like I was in that job for, I don't know, 7 years, but I was constantly looking at how do I improve? So boring, tedious work that we don't like doing it. If we turn it into a game, if we turn it into a challenge, if we turn it into something where it's like, I can get better at this, I can improve on this, flipping, burgers at McDonald's when I did that when I was in high school. I just was the best. I mean, because time goes by so fast. So nice. Kenny, what you got? Oh, before we go there, like like, what's, what's a way that Nora can really watch and study this stuff? Like, is she going to see when it works better or when it's not?
Maybe her percentages or
Her percentages, her
pressure points.
PPA. Yeah, her pressure points. And, while I was on vacation doing whitewater rafting, um, I'm sure you guys were studying those pressure points like daily. So Patrick Ryan, um, Patrick Ryan went ahead and he said when he was I think when he was 20 or 21, that he made a vow, a covenant to never lie to himself. So, Nora, if you allow somebody to believe something that's true that's not, is that lying to them?
I'm not sure.
See, it's complicated, right? like, like we don't think about these things. Like we just don't. We just don't think. We just think, yeah, we're honest. Are we? And so, so I mean, you guys all processed it quickly. You guys all knew. We didn't look at it once, but nobody jumped up and said, yeah, no, we didn't look at that once while you were gone. Like, why not? So there's something that's called an optical illusion. Are you guys familiar with that word?
Yep.
We're going down, the rapids. and there's these two bridges. There's a small bridge and then a huge monster bridge. And the guide is like, there's an optical illusion with those two bridges. Anybody see it? And Ben, man, he picked it up quick. He said, the small bridge looks like it's further away, but it's actually closer. Like, how did he know that? Like, it was really fascinating. And so there's so many things about rafting. You guys will probably hear, a lot about it. And so why would I share those stories with you guys?
Because it helps to communicate a moral or a point through a story.
And that's my hope, right? My hope is that you all follow dopamine, the thrill. You all follow the thrill of, risk and danger and, things that are on the edge. And so you all do, which is, it's not good or bad. It's not a judgment. It's just like, this is what it is. So I wonder, I'm looking for how do I go ahead, how do I go ahead and reach these guys? Like, how do I help them understand the significance of what's being said? Like when Tom heard the story of the Grandpa Boersma principle, when I was 8 years old, and he said there's some amount of truth to it, he's like, you got to be kidding. That's amazing. Mike Bailey, he owned his own electrical company and sold it 8 years ago. And, his daughter-in-law's brother is one of the founders of Brinkley, a big, big new RV company. And he went ahead and read the Grandpa Boersma principle in the pickleball book. He's like, Mark, that is the coolest principle. He's like, that's really, really good. Here you've got a 68-year-old guy. It's like, that's really good, which is what reminded me like Grandpa Chappelle when Tom Kuhn said that when he was 15 years old, he said that his grandfather said, Tom, what I'm saying to you now, isn't going to have you're not going to see the benefit of it. All I do is ask that you write it down because it will mean a lot to you in the future. I'm like, you got to be kidding. I mean, my grandpa died when I was 9. So I never got that lesson. Like, wow, that's mind-numbing to me. When Alvin Miller said that he used to go ahead and challenge his dad, I don't relate to that. I never challenged my dad. Like, I just didn't. Now that I look back, he's passed away like 10 years ago. I look back, I said, I think my dad was intimidated by me, honestly. I don't think he felt that he could keep up to me mentally. But I served in his church for, over 20 years. I mean, beyond the 18 that was required. So when Alvin said, yeah, I used to challenge my dad, rebelled and pushed against him. I'm like, used to? He's like, yeah. I said, when did you stop? And he said, 15. I said, really? And he's like, yeah. And I said, like, wow, that's interesting. Like what happened at 15? Like there was a point at 15 years old that he stopped challenging his dad and he got into flow with him. And he's like, I heard all these people, saying, amazing things about my dad. And I said, all these other people, respect my dad and think he knows a lot. Maybe I ought to pay attention. Maybe I ought to pay attention to him. At 15. Any ideas as to why I bring that story up?
Not sure.
Teenagers don't do that.
Right? And if they miss it, like it was harrowing. I mean, there's 6 rafts. We're going down a class 5. I mean, we hit a class 5. This thing is, you're vertical. Like, you see it. There's a picture out there of Ben's face and my face. We're at the front of the raft. Like, whoa, like this is going down. I mean, we go straight down. And I mean, there's a wave, like a 15-foot wave that hits me solid in the chest. like, man. Anyways, so we're bouncing around all over the place. And all of a sudden, the whistles start blowing, and some big dude fell off the raft behind us. This is pretty dangerous when you fall off in a, he was a little bit, maybe a little cocky, this guy. And I mean, and so we were the closest one. He's getting beat around and trying to swim. You just, like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. His eyes, and he's trying to stay above water when the undertow is bringing him down, and there's rocks all over the place. It's like, holy cow, this is a dangerous situation. This guy, he is in danger. His life is in danger. He knew it. You could tell it on his face. So we go ahead, and the guide tells us to row towards him. So we row towards him. And I mean, we're getting blasted all over the place. So we're the front of the raft. So we're going down the rapids backwards. But we go through the biggest one. So they teach you how to pull them out. You don't pull them out by their arms. You pull them out by their life jacket. So Ben and I go ahead and reach over and grab him by the life jacket and haul him into haul him in to the raft. And then the guide goes and says, lean forward. And so we're trained to do what he tells us to do, when he tells us to do it, how he tells us to do it, and do it fast with a great, you just obey. You just do what he tells you to do. Because literally on a class 5, your life depends on it. Literally. And somebody else's does too. Why are we leaning forward? It makes no sense. Well, I'm a pretty attentive guy, but not that attentive. I didn't realize we were going down backwards because the adrenaline is flying. We're pulling this guy in. We've got 7, 8 people in our raft, plus this other guy. We're going down backwards. Well, we had been pushed down to the next rapids. We were going down the next class 5 or 4 backwards with a guy in a raft. This is a pretty dangerous situation now, not only for this guy, but for us, because we could have flipped easy and all of us could have ended up in there. So Ben, he's really pumped up. That's my son who's 27. He wants to go back out. He says, Dad, would you? So we went on the lower Gollum, and he wants to go on the upper Gollum in September, October, November. That's when the dam releases on a consistent flow. And that becomes the upper Gollum during those times become the 3rd most dangerous rafting in the world. There's 5 class 5s that are back to back with a 15-foot waterfall. What could possibly go wrong there? So, how does that have to do with anything here? It's like if you don't learn the lessons when you're a teenager, what happens?
It damages your adulthood, or
Yeah, you move into your 20s. And if you didn't learn, if you didn't learn, like I need to listen to people that have age and wisdom and experience over me, and I need to take it to heart because, you know, in my teens, I thought life was pretty rough. Okie dokie. Yep. You know, and young parents, it's fascinating to me. It's just fascinating to me. And I love my four daughters. I do, like to no end. But I've noticed there's a pattern there that as they get children, they become more confident at times that they know more than their dad does, which they do in some areas, no question, but maybe not in the areas they think. And the more children they get, the more confidence that they get that they got it figured out. But their dad just smiles because he knows what is coming. See, their dad's been down this path before. And so, you know, Bill Gates, president founder of Microsoft, when that was on the peak, when he was at the top, when he went ahead, I mean, billionaire, like the top of the top, and he said, we're Microsoft, nobody can touch him. He said, we're within 18 months of going out of business. See, that's humility. Somehow he knew, somehow he could see things shift fast on you. You know, our 8-year-old granddaughter is coming to visit us for a week. And her mom said to my wife, you know, she she doesn't like being told what to do. And so she's, you know, she's got a mind of her own. Is grandpa concerned about her? With grandpa? No, he's not. See, what grandpa did is he embedded in her at a very young age, like I'm your advocate. I'm here to help you, sweetheart. She's crying and 5 years old and she doesn't get what she wants from her mom. And I go ahead and explain to her, sweetheart, what stop your crying so grandpa can, what do you want from your mom? And I can't understand her. And so I said, honey, you got to be clear so grandpa understands what you want because I want to get you what you want. So she stops the tears and she says, I want this from mom. I'm like, okay, grandpa's going to try to help you get that. Now, if grandpa can't get it, maybe grandpa can persuade your mom. Grandpa's pretty persuasive. Maybe grandpa can persuade your mom to go ahead and help you or to give you this. But if I can't, because your mom's your mom and she's the final authority. Like it's not grandpa. If she says no, you're going to have a good attitude. Do you understand this, sweetheart? Grandpa's going to go to bat for you. He's going to try. But if he doesn't, you're going to accept your mom's and you're going to have a great attitude. So I'm not concerned about my 8-year-old granddaughter. She's going to be fine with grandpa. She might have some other issues with other adults that maybe. So teenagers, it's coming. And so you move if you don't learn your lessons when you're in your teens, you go into your 20s. And if you don't learn your lessons in your 20s, you go to your 30s. And the rapids, we didn't start off on level 5 rapids. We started off on level 2 and 3 rapids. You're like, hey, I got this down. Yeah, you haven't hit a level 5 plus. And so, you know, the reason I brought up the story is Kenny did a week trip with me to, you know, Texas. He's like, dang, there's a lot of people out there that respect you, think a lot of you. Then we did another trip to the East Coast with Kenny and Jason. Same thing there. Now, you all have the disadvantage of, I'm going to tell somebody in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s, I'm going to go ahead and tell them, I'm going to challenge them and they're not going to like me. And they're going to say a bunch of things. It just will. It's just how it works. So you guys will have natural questions. Does Mark really know what he's talking about? It's not bad. So, Kenny, what you got?
Yesterday, so we're working with I would say it's more higher end client, and finishing out her basement. So we're installing a lot, doing a big remodel in her house, and it's a big house. It's a nice house. And she has, I think just yesterday she had three of her friends there. One, to help her trying to make the final decisions on style, color, all things like that. But then also, just to show them, hey, show them what's happening, how it looks. And we don't like, they're there, we acknowledge them, we talk with them a little bit. But I didn't know how to tap into that for referral partners, how to tap into their friends. I mean, she's not there herself, but her friends are there throughout the day, friends and family. But how to tap into that so we can build our network.
Right. So, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
And so, when you have the more money you have, the more time you have, maybe, especially if you're a woman. If your husband, carrying the weight, woman has a lot of extra time. So she has a lot of friends and she goes and plays pickleball and she goes to the gym and she hangs out and she has a lot of free time. So in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization, like what am I put on this planet? See, when you're not working for a living, when you don't need money, like everything's covered, you have all of your needs covered. You're looking, who am I? Like on Ford versus Ferrari, who am I? So it's too bad you didn't have the book, the Dreamscape book, to say, hey, I don't know if and you typically want to ask, hey, here's a booklet and this is new to us. And so the thing that's nice about all of you, you can just say, hey, we're young, we're inexperienced, we don't know anything. And then people say, oh, you're so humble. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell them differently. And so you go ahead and, like, they're looking for the experience. They're looking for the experience, the connection that women have. It's fascinating to me, the response that I've gotten from all the pickleball people who, the ones I play with during the summer are pretty well off. They don't really have to work much at all, maybe. And they're all like so stunned that I'm going river rafting with my son. They're like, that is so cool. Wow, you're the epic dad. I'm like, isn't this what dads do? Although Ben's starting to realize, I said, what were you thinking when we were going down the rapids? And he said, I was thinking, how cool is it that I have a 62-year-old dad that can go ahead and still do, class 5 rapids with me and still go on a hike and still keep up with me. And so they're looking for meaning. But they don't know. So it's like they're so connected into their kids and into their friends and the experience. They're like, what experience do you want in the home? And the husband's often in very affluent situations. The husband's like, we can't spend this money, but we have it. Yeah, but money doesn't grow on trees, but we can. And she'll convince him to go ahead and do this and this and this and this. So it's dicey. There's, especially being a young man, and if the women are in their, 40s or 50s or 60s, 60s not too bad, although there's some risk there. But, so how do you do that? How do you bridge the gap? So, I mean, when I was 23 years old, I went to and called on very affluent realtors. They sold, the lots were over $1 million for a lot. And so very wealthy. So I'm 23 years old and, I wasn't raised on that. I'm not, even to this day, I'm a bit uncomfortable in that world. Don't dress like it, don't talk like it, don't act like it. It's just, I'm just not. But I brought Ginger Ann out when she was a few days old and immediately won their heart. And so there's, you not only have to know women, but then working with affluent women, it's a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's things that you can do to ask questions. There's things that you can do to go ahead and create conversation. But there's a whole separate rule, and so you've got to be careful with it, like really careful. You got to execute it like going down a class 5. You just do what the guide tells you to do. Do what he tells you to do, when he tells you to do it, how he tells you to do it, do it with a great attitude. Like, and he says, don't try to anticipate what I'm going to tell you. Just do. I command you, you follow. This is what you do. So working with very affluent people, everybody in business wants to do it. Why? Because they haven't worked with affluent people. Working with affluent people is really tricky. Great question, though. We'll bring that up. Bring it up again because there's a whole we could have a whole series on that. Luke, what you got, sir?
I think I'm good. I don't have anything.
So, yeah, this is a great session. This is going to be a favorite, and so Nora, if you could let David know it's a favorite, that would be awesome. This is really, really good. You guys are awesome. If you have any questions on anything we covered on this one, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day.